Hello, staff. This is Kelly Gatewood, and I would like to tell you today about the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, also referred to as FERPA. I'd like to start with a little bit on the background of FERPA. It is a federal law that protects the confidentiality of its student education records, and it's found in Title 20 of the United States Code. This law grants the rights to parents on behalf of their children about their educational information and their records. At the age of 18, or whenever a student attends a post-secondary institution, the rights are then transferred to the student. The parents do still have a right to them as long as they are claiming them as a dependent on their tax return, though. This law is enforced by the Family Policy Compliance Office, the FPCO, and it applies to all schools who receive any federal funding for any program administered by the Department of Education. Immigration and Customs Enforcement in School. The laws surrounding this is that student resource officers are not required to report or remove undocumented students. The Department of Homeland Security and its ICE Bureau is permitted to have access to students' records in order to monitor the stay of international students pursuant to the Student Exchange and Visitors Information System program. But for ICE to have access to student records, they must have a valid court order or subpoena. We are required to offer education to all students, even if they are here illegally. FERPA compliance in the digital age. Things have changed now since we have gone so digital for everything from assignments to testing to all of that kind of stuff. So since 2013, there have been 120 student privacy laws in at least 40 states that have been passed. Third-party providers still have to abide by all of the same laws that schools does when it comes to FERPA and have safeguards in place. And what we mean by third-party providers would be like a company providing our surveillance equipment, online testing, apps and websites that we use, digital record keepings. FERPA may need to be strengthened for the use of it during the digital age. We're going to talk about surveillance cameras in schools. And in 2015-2016 school year, 80% of all schools and 94% of all high schools have surveillance cameras in use to monitor their students. Surveillance cameras are allowed where low expectation of privacy is expected, so such as a hallway, stairwell, school bus, parking lot, classrooms. But surveillance cameras are not allowed in higher expectations of privacy, so you can't have them in your bathrooms or your locker rooms. But you can have them in the hallway that leads to the bathroom or the locker room. Use of audio surveillance recording may be unconstitutional, and there's been kind of different court cases that went back and forth about that. And so the best thing you could do is to have signage around your school to give them notification that audio recording may be in use. To get access to these recordings, parents may request videos that are directly related to their student and maintained by the educational institution. They cannot get videos for other students, just their own students. Law enforcement must have written consent from parents unless the recording is created and maintained by a school law enforcement unit. And third-party access is exempt from disclosure requirements of open records law if it's qualified for FERPA. So you'd have to follow the FERPA requirements to be able to get the videos. There are ways that we need to make sure that our school is being FERPA compliant. And one of the ways is by doing that is exactly what we're doing here, raising the awareness of it. You need to confirm that FERPA applies to you. You need to know the rights, the protections, and the exceptions. We need to choose compliant vendors. We're going to train all of our employees, implement compliant policies and procedures, make sure we encrypt all files and emails, and implement prevention tools. We sometimes do things that we don't realize are FERPA violations. And so to be more aware of that, we need to know how we can prevent them. One of the best ways we can do that is shred student records before disposing. We need to allow access to data through vendors online, allowing access to data through vendors online and in person. So sometimes we're giving them information that we don't know is non-compliant. Denying access to records by parents and others. If they're allowed to have it, we have to give it to them. Discussing information obtained through a student's educational record. That's probably the biggest one that I think most people don't realize that they're breaking FERPA violations through, and sharing sensitive information through email, because email is not a secure method of communication. We need to make sure we are destroying our data in the correct way that we can. There are no requirements for destruction of data that is collected, that each agency, however they want to do it, can make up their own policies. But we can make sure that when we sign contracts with vendors and stuff, that we state when the file should be deleted. And there's different levels of deletion where you can clear it and just get rid of stuff. You purge it, and it is the sanitation that applies to physical or logical techniques that render target data recovery infeasible using the state-of-art laboratory techniques. Clearing it, it could come back, or you can completely destroy it, and it's a method of sanitation that renders the target data recovery infeasible using state-of-art laboratory techniques and results in a subsequent inability to use media for storage of data. So clearing it is the least effective one. It could probably come back. Purging is the middle level, but destroying it is the best method that you can use. And you need to make sure which one of those is the best for what you're trying to dispose of. FERPA impact on the classroom. You need to use caution when we're using technology in a classroom. A lot of those free websites you might be using might not put you in compliance. We need to keep student data secure and make sure we're only releasing directory information. And directory information is kind of just their basic information, their name, their address, their phone number, stuff like that. All other information, we need to keep it secure. Make sure they're not presenting anything on your screen or leaving documents laying on your desk. If you ever receive a request to review education records, you need to tell your administrator so you can make sure you're being in compliance with FERPA. And these are my references. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Have a great day. Bye.